Have you opened your Bible yet today? Hello there, I'm Ronald, and how are you doing on this fine day? Welcome to Bible Talk, where I break down and discuss the Bible. Today I'm continuing in the book of Exodus with chapters 21 to 24. Now, previously we began in chapter 20 with the Ten Commandments, and now we're continuing in chapters 21 to 23, which discuss various Bible laws. Now, these laws include a wide range of topics, including laws about slaves, Hebrew slaves and female slaves, laws about violence, murder, striking parents, kidnapping, cursing parents, and injuries, laws about slaves' rights, slaves' death and injury to slaves and pregnant women, laws about animals, ox goring, restitution, laws about social justice, seduction, sorcery, and bestiality, laws about the Sabbath and festivals that talk about the importance of Sabbath rest, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of Harvest, the Feast of Ingathering 3 times a year. Now, what these chapters outline are various laws and teachings that God is imparting to the Israel people, and the following are some of the key lessons that we should learn from this. Number 1, justice and fairness. The law emphasizes justice and fairness in various aspects of life, including treating slaves, violence, and property rights. For example, Hebrew slaves are to serve for 6 years and then to go free on the 7th year, ensuring that they're not bound indefinitely. Similarly, if a master injures a slave, the slave goes free because of the injury. Now, number 2, respect for life and family. The law highlights the importance of respecting life and family. It talks about murder, striking parents, and cursing parents. They're all punishable by death. Now, this underscores the value placed on human life and familiar relationships. Now, number 3, responsibility and restitution. There are detailed laws about responsibility and restitution, particularly concerning property and animals. 3. For instance, if an ox gores a person to death, the ox is to be stoned, but the owner is not liable unless the ox is known to be dangerous. This teaches the importance of taking responsibility for one's actions and making amends by any harm that's caused. Number 4, social justice. These laws include social justice, such as the treatment of sojourners, widows, and the poor. It instructs not to wrong or oppress these vulnerable groups and to lend money without charging interest. This promotes compassion and fairness in society. And then number 5, festivals and Sabbaths. These laws also emphasize the importance of rest and worship. The Sabbath rest is mandatory for everyone, including animals and servants, and it's to ensure that they're refreshed. The Hebrew people are also instructed to keep various festivals, such as the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of Harvest, and the Feast of Ingathering. Number 6, divine guidance and promises. God promises to guide and protect the Hebrew people, bringing them to the promised land. They are instructed to obey divine guidance and not rebel. God also promises to be an enemy to their enemies and to drive out the inhabitants of the land gradually. These teachings aim to create a just and compassionate, faithful community, honoring God and respecting one another. Now, these laws go into great detail. Could we transfer and apply all these laws today in our society? Probably not. While these laws were specific to the culture when they were given, their principles are eternal and reflect how God expects his people to conduct themselves. It mentions that some laws, like those related to dowries, but it doesn't apply directly to modern society, does it? We don't do that today. But the underlying issue still remains relevant. Additionally, these chapters discuss how God protects the vulnerable individuals, such as female virgins, sojourners, widows, and orphans. It also addresses the seriousness of sorcery and divination, which was punishable by death. Now, overall, they highlight the timeless principles of justice, responsibility, and compassion embedded in these biblical laws. David Guzik from the Enduring Word commentary, he describes these chapters as like a court of law. He mentions that the broad character of these laws shows that God gave them not only for the laws in themselves, but for the principles and the precedents that they would establish for the judges appointed by Israel. There's a sense, and that's what this section is all about. Have you ever walked into a lawyer's office and seen all these law books on the shelves? Well, what's in these books? They're cases, law cases. It's precedents from this ruling and that ruling, and oftentimes they build a legal decision based on the cases and the precedents that have gone on before them. There's a sense in which these 3 chapters make up Israel's law library, so to speak. These are the principles. These are the cases. And as you know, real life sometimes is much messier than these hypothetical examples. But still, these hypothetical examples give a fundamental principles by which the judges of Israel could adequately do their job. I'll tell you this, when our culture and legal system reflect these principles, God is honored and people are blessed. It's distressing to see that more and more in our culture and legal systems, they depart from these principles. Well, again, I want to stress to say that I'm not talking necessarily about the same specific laws, but at the very least, the principles which they reflect. And so what follows in Exodus chapters 21, 22, 23 are dozens of laws given as examples, as precedent cases for the judges of Israel to be able to know the principles on which to decide disputes for their society. Then in chapter 24, the people enter this covenant with God at Mount Sinai, agreeing to do all that God says. Then God calls Moses up to the mountain, and he is there for 40 days and 40 nights. Now I'm going to leave it here for today. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all, and have a great day.